Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so it is January. Oh no, it's February. February 1st. I'm gonna go through the lab number 1. And first and foremost, I'm gonna apologize to you guys for all the issues with installing the QGIS plugins. Most of you were able to install them just fine, and we worked out some of the problems. But you know how technology is. And some of you had upgraded to Windows 11 or had some other upgrade that upgraded your Python, and so that caused an issue. But as you can see, I have my QGIS installed, I have my Python console installed, and my GeoPublic Health installed. I'm good to go, and I have the lab over here. So I'm just gonna, I already read this. I'm gonna go get the data. And so shapefile first. And I'm gonna put it in my downloads folder. And I'm gonna add it to my project. It's going to be in downloads right there, which I already had downloaded it. I kind of cheated it a little bit. But do not store just a shapefile on its own. All of this other files, they have data as well, so only use the shapefile along with the other ones in the same folder. And I'm just going to add it. And I'm going to close. And so here it is. And let's just do some exploration. Attribute table, I'll have the names ISO 2 abbreviation, ISO 3. We're going to use ISO 3 to match it up to the data. Right? Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and save my project. I'm going to save it under downloads as well, just so that lab 1 demo, just so that I don't lose anything. All right, and if you hear my child in the background, I apologize. She is home today because they had a COVID-19 outbreak at her daycare, which is no bueno. All right, let's go get the data here. Actually, I'm going to open it in a new window. Open in a new tab, and it's going to take a little while to load up. And, you go by indicator or theme. So theme, non-communicable diseases, risk factors, overweight, obesity. So theme, non-communicable diseases, risk factors, overweight, and obesity. Which reminds me, I need to go for a run in the morning, to be honest with you. Gotta work on that weight. Getting older. Okay, prevalence of overweight, age standardized or crude. Let's see what the lab says. Age standardized. Yeah, always standardize your data, because you know that age has an influence on overweight, because I just said it, right? Okay. Prevalence of overweight, age standardized among adults, BMI, yep. Right here. Estimates by, and this is for country. And you notice it's still loading. It's taking a little bit. It's a lot of data, so it's going to take some time to load. While that's loading, let's look over here. What else do we have here? Let's go ahead and rename this layer. World borders. There's a lot of things that QGIS can do. And so if you notice that it's a little stuck like this, right? One of the things you can do is just go click up here and stop it. And go back. We're going to have to wait. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to add the layer from a previous offering of the course. And notice that you can add the layer here as well. All sorts of different layers, different things you might want to play around with. So add the vector layer. I'm going to go get it from a previous offering of the course. Hopkins 2020, 19 GIS for public health. And I did alcoholism as a yeah, let's just do, well, I have overweight. But let's just do alcoholism. That way I'm not spoiling your, or should I do, no, let's, I could edit all of this, but I'm not. I'm just gonna let it happen, so you guys can see all of this. Okay, add, close. So we have the overweight data. Let's look at the attribute table. There it is, ISO 3, male, female. And same thing, if you notice there's some nulls in here, and that might cause an issue. See how it's saying that they're real. So if you want to refactor them, we can certainly refactor them. So there's a tool for that. We go to processing toolbox, and it's called refactor. And we're gonna refactor fields. And in the fields here, text, decimal, 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 they're all in here, so I don't need to refactor. But if you had, for example, if you wanted to make it into a text into a decimal, you can just get in here and change the value. And then you would add it, would add it as another layer, and then you would use that layer. So let's just not do that. So now we go to world borders, we're gonna right click, we're going to go to properties, we are going to go to joins, we're going to create a new join, overweight data by ISO 3, the target field on the shapefile is ISO 3, cache join in memory, sure. If you want to give it a custom prefix, I am going to do that, and I'm going to call it prevalence underscore, and it is done. We apply it, we say okay. And now if we open the attribute table, you'll see that it is added over here on the end, right? So let's see, we've done all that. Assume that we've done the data processing, right? You just follow that, or you can use a pivot table, which is what I used. In other offerings, I've used star to create the data, but this is basically what it's supposed to look like. You just saw it on the other side, but just get your data to look like this. Okay, we had the layer, the attribute table, we put it together by ISO 3, layer properties, click joins, etc. We just did that, right? We close the attribute table. Okay, so then we open it again, properties, the preschooler is laughing in the background, symbology, not style, symbology. We need to change that, right? Symbol graduated, and we're gonna do both sexes. She's watching cartoons.
Sorry.
It's okay. Both sexes, color ramps 0 to red, equal interval to quantiles. So they're already at quantiles. We're going to classify them and see you have them here. Now, one of the things you could do is you might want to say, well, who is not, who is below a certain threshold, right? And you can change your thresholds here. Whatever makes sense. The advice is whatever is going to make sense for your study or for your analysis. Right, if we were posting average BMI, mean BMI, then you might want to have low BMI, normal BMI, high BMI, overweight, and very high BMI for obese, very, very high for morbidly obese, etc. Whatever makes sense. But here we're just going to do the equal quantiles. You can always do other things that we will discuss in other offerings, in other lectures. Okay, 5 classes, review the legend, we apply it, say okay. You review the legend right here. You saw the histogram, right? So we can go back to the properties. You saw the histogram right here, right? Bimodal distribution. So yes, you have hopefully very few people with very low BMI, and these are the nulls over here. So how do you take care of that, right? You go into it and say ignore the nulls. We'll cover that in another lab. You have people in the normal range, and then people in the high range. A lot of people in the high range. Overweight and obesity, a global problem. Again, just too much food, too much delicious food, especially in developed nations. Too high calorie dense food. Not good food, good for you, but very calorie dense. And then you have people who are, countries that are in outrageously high BMIs, and you see it in some countries, especially poorer countries where there's just not a lot of food available, not a lot of good food available. You can change the number of bins to kind of see the histogram, in different ways. The mean, right, for the whole thing, it's probably being covered up in there. The standard deviations, right? Mean somewhere around 48, and then those are the sigmas. Okay, so you have your map, right? Change histogram bins to 40. We already played with that. Review the distribution. Click apply. Layer properties, diagrams, pie chart. Okay, so layer properties again. Diagrams. Pie charts. Appearance to be tab. Be sure that the scale dependent visibility is okay. In the attributes style, you can load styles if you already make them before. Options. Okay. All right. Attribute section. In the list of available attributes, select male and female, or female and male, and you select them with your control keys. You add them. Click the plus sign to add them. Double click female and make it a certain color. F7, B5, F7. Pink, because you know, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't dress my little girl in a lot of pink. She likes purple. Male, and let's make it a blue because that's how we classify boys and girls. All right. So we change the color, but you can make it whatever color you know, with your own projects at work or you know. All right, click on the size tab. Select units to be millimeters, size, units, millimeters, fixed size. Select the scale size radio button. Select both sexes in the attribute drop box. Both sexes. Maximum value, click find. And 88.5. Change the size to 16. 16. Click OK. And now you have the prevalence, right? Male versus female. Add a new layer to add the WMS. This is something that we had an issue the other day, right? And so layer, they fixed it. I was on an email thread back and forth with NASA, and I was like, "You guys are NASA. Why are we having this issue?" I already created it here. Test. So you can edit the the cancel. So you can look for it. NASA. Nope. All right. Click server search. There is no server search. Apparently this has changed now. Such a, you know, I apologize. We do need to update this. Let's just remove it. Let's remove this one. That's what I was playing with the other day. And then the NASA. Okay. Layers. Layer order. New. Oh, what was it? It was NASA. So I'm going to say NASA. There was actually a blog post that is how I fixed it, because I contacted the person who wrote the blog post, and yeah, we got it done. can actually download it. MES QGIS. There's the web mapping service from NASA. And there's the web address. Copy. Okay. Connect. And there it is. And we're going to find the topographic. 377 topography. Ah, it changed. Let's see. 377. Yeah, it's 376. Land topography, select the image encoding as PNG, add the layer, and then close it. So now you see it in the background, it's the topology, right? Double click, change the layer order in the control layer, so we're going to put world borders on top. And so now they're there, and then we're going to make them not as not as transparent. Style, again, there's no style, right? And symbol, choose color, it could be color. Oh, here's the transparency right here. We're gonna make it okay. There you go. And you see they're a little less transparent. Be sure the layer is on top of the zoom in, zoom out, drag the map. So yeah, you can zoom in, you can drag it, you can zoom in, Control plus, Control minus to zoom out. What do you notice though? Let me just get rid of this. Oh, let me get rid of topography, and let me see if I can hide this. Nope, I cannot hide that. Okay. There's some missing data, and that's what I wanted to tell you guys. So there's some missing data in Sudan. Okay. 1 second. All right, and so you save it. Save the layer, add the name, save it as a zip file, and you're done. All right, any questions? We'll be talking about it. Forget about IndyMapper. IndyMapper's not working. It would be really great, and I can show you. So if we, real quick, let me just save this. So I already saved it, and then I'm gonna export it.
You just need to show her to tell people about the coronavirus.
Yeah, the coronavirus.
You're telling them because they don't know and they're not really sure.
Yeah. So. I know, with added commentary from my little girl.
That's why they want you to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know all about the coronavirus.
Yeah. So let's save the layer as let me save it as a shapefile. Well, of course we could read the instructions, right? Save as.
Daddy,
Cancel.
you know what's the best about this? I put a pillow under the hot stuff and now I can have a coffee.
Wow. Okay, save as, select TM world borders, and layer, save as, and then browse it. Okay. Yeah, it's the same. Shapefile. Lab 1. Shape. Just leave it on. And we're gonna save it in the downloads to downloads. Lab 1. Save. Okay. And it's saved. And then one of the interesting things that you can do is if you go to maps google.com. My maps, Google. My maps, Google. If you have a Google account, you hit get started, create a new map. You see how many maps I created over the years. Import a layer. Oh, here's the problem. So KML GPX file here. Okay, so then we're gonna do it again. We're gonna export it. Save features as CVS XLS KML GPX file. We might not be able to do that. Geo package. Nope. All right. Well, obviously I have not done this. I've done it in R, where I can save it. Comma separated values. Ooh, I wonder if you can do no, you can't do. I tried it before. All right. So we'll just leave it at that. But just know that yes. Oh, KML. There it is. KML. Okay. Never mind. We can do that. We can do this. We can do this, guys. Lab 1. Why do I feel like I'm in? I'm on Twitch. It's gonna add it to a. Okay. I'll file off my device. Go to downloads. KML right there. I knew it. 5 megabyte limit. It used to be that they didn't have a limit on these things. What you can do is you create each layer independently and then you just add it on. But you can do from your Google Drive file from your imports. So let me just go back and show you a map that I made before. Before there was a when COVID was starting, I did a map of where it was appearing. So Wuhan is right there, and then there were cases, and this is a map that I created January 24th, 2020. So we were getting ready to declare an emergency. Baltimore CSAs for shootings, New York City map, safe street areas in Baltimore. So a lot of things that you can do with Google, and people like Google because that's something that they use, right? If they use it more. So for example, I think this one is some of the areas around Baltimore with different values, census wards, etc. So you can use that. Hey, look, it finally loaded. And some of you had issues with it because you would click on more and nothing would happen. It's because it's a pop-up, and your pop-up blocker will have it blocked. And so you just click on right click and open a new tab, and here it is. And then you can download the table as a CSV and play with it to get it to where you need it to be. So that's how you do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This was lab number 1 in a jiffy. I hope you all did well with it, and we will talk about it at the, or maybe by the time you watch this, we have already talked about it. All right, guys, take care.